Hello friends, and welcome to the End of Days channel. I hope you all are doing well, and if you're new, welcome. I want to say thank you as well to all my new subscribers. It means a lot to me. Please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you would like to help my channel grow, since I'm a fairly new YouTuber. Thanks in advance, friends. The story of Snow White, as we know it today, is a fairy tale that has been polished and sanitized over centuries, most notably by the brothers Grimm in 1812 and later by Disney in 1937. However, if we dig into its origins and the symbolic elements often associated with occult interpretations, a darker, more esoteric narrative emerges, one that reflects ancient archetypes, alchemical symbolism, and themes of transformation, death, and rebirth. Let's explore this occult lens on Snow White, focusing on its symbolic undertones and historical roots, while critically examining the layers that have been added or stripped away over time. The origins and historical context. Snow White, as recorded by the brothers Grimm in their collection Grimm's Fairy Tales, first edition, 1812, is a German fairy tale known as Sneewittchen. The tale features familiar elements: a jealous queen, a magic mirror, a poisoned apple, 7 dwarfs, and a glass coffin. However, the Grimms didn't invent this story. They collected it from oral traditions, which were often far darker and more complex than the versions we know today. Folklorists like Sigrid Schmidt and Joseph Jacobs have noted that Snow White, classified as Anna Thompson, type 709, combines motifs from other tales, such as a heroine cursed into a deep sleep, like Sleeping Beauty, ATU 410, and children lost in the woods, like Hansel and Gretel, ATU 327. This suggests that Snow White is a composite of ancient stories, possibly rooted in pre-Christian European folklore. Some scholars, like Graham Anderson, have drawn parallels between Snow White and ancient myths, such as the Roman legend of Chione, meaning snow in Greek, from Ovid's Metamorphoses. In that story, Chione is a beautiful woman who is assaulted by gods and later killed by the goddess Diana for her hubris. This connection hints at a deeper mythic archetype of the sacred feminine, whose beauty and purity provoke both desire and destruction, a theme that resonates with occult interpretations of Snow White as a symbol of spiritual purity and transformation. The occult symbolism in Snow White. When viewed through an occult lens, Snow White's story is rich with symbolic meaning, often tied to alchemical processes, initiatory rites, and the eternal struggle between light and shadow. Here's a breakdown of the key elements. Snow White as the divine feminine and alchemical symbol. Snow White's description, skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, hair as black as ebony, is more than a poetic flourish. In the Grimm's tale, her mother wishes for a child with these qualities after seeing blood on snow while sewing by an ebony window frame. These colours, white, red, black, are significant in alchemy, representing the 3 stages of the great work Nigredo: black, the stage of decay and purification; albedo, white, the stage of purification and enlightenment; and rubedo, red, the stage of completion and spiritual awakening. Snow White herself can be seen as an alchemical vessel, undergoing a transformative journey from innocence to death to rebirth. Her name, Snow White, evokes purity and the untarnished state of the soul. In many esoteric traditions, white is associated with the divine feminine, the moon, and the goddess archetype. Snow White's journey mirrors that of a goddess like Persephone, who descends into the underworld death and returns transformed, rebirth. The evil queen, often depicted as a witch in the Grimm's version, embodies the shadow side of the feminine: jealousy, vanity, and destructive power. Her obsession with the magic mirror, which always tells the truth, reflects a distorted desire for self-knowledge. In occult terms, Mirrors are portals to the subconscious or the spirit world, often used in scrying or divination. The Queen's reliance on the mirror suggests she is trapped in a material, ego-driven state, unable to access true spiritual wisdom. The Queen's attempts to kill Snow White, first through a huntsman, then with a laced bodice, a poisoned comb, and finally a poisoned apple, can be seen as initiatory trials. In many occult traditions, the initiate must face death, symbolic or literal, to achieve enlightenment. The Queen, unwittingly, becomes the catalyst for Snow White's transformation, much like a dark goddess, such as Hecate or Lilith, who tests the heroine. The poisoned apple is one of the most potent symbols in the story, often interpreted through a Christian lens as a parallel to the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden. In Disney's 1937 film, this connection is emphasized, with the apple representing temptation and the sleeping death mirroring Eve's spiritual fall. However, in an occult context, the apple has deeper roots. Apples are associated with knowledge and immortality in many mythologies, such as the golden apples of the Hesperides in Greek myth or the apples of Avalon in Celtic lore. The poisoned apple, then, becomes a dual symbol. It brings death, but also initiates Snow White into a higher state of consciousness. The act of eating the apple can be seen as a ritual of sacrifice. Snow White's death, a deep sleep, is a descent into the underworld, a common motif in initiatory rites. In occult traditions, this descent is necessary for the soul to confront its shadow and emerge reborn.